Okay, here we go.
Making Geeks is a podcast for people who are striving to find the balance between raising great kids and holding on to their creative passions that keep them sane.
That's good.
I read it in all caps at the end.
That's good.
Preferred.
It's great because I can't hear myself, so I'm probably just shouting.
Nice, I'm good.
All right, everybody set?
Ready to do our team chant?
I'm sorry, there's so much Star Wars stuff. I just saw the R2-D2 from Spiro.
Oh, yeah, that looked pretty cool.
Oh my god.
Mark's about to wet himself.
Between that and the new Millennium Falcon.
That's what all the pipes in the
Lego's
all the pipes in the back are for.
Yeah. Lego's new coffee table.
Are we going to have to let you just like talk for 20 minutes when we get to geeking out?
No, I'll be good.
All right, here we go. Welcome to episode 61 of the Making Geeks podcast. We are the podcast for makers, dads, and geeks. And today with us, we have Mr. Josh Price.
Hello.
Mr. Mark O'Keefe.
What's going on?
Did you say anything?
Yes.
Okay, my end might just be really messing up. Okay, I'll have to cut that then. Mr. Wes
What's
Swain.
going on?
It's like we've done this
we
like
usually
60
do
times.
like a test recording. It lasts about 2 hours, and then we do the real one after. So hopefully you...
We're just making some outtakes. Weird.
All right. And we have Mr. Wes Swain.
Hey, what's up?
And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Hold on, I'm going to start that again.
Steve McMasterson.
And today we have with us a very special guest, an artist and maker extraordinaire, Mr. Keith Decent.
Hello.
Yay.
Hey.
Very excited to be here.
How are you guys doing today?
Better now.
Great.
Very good.
Meh.
Don't be too excited.
Anything exciting going on this week?
Mark, did you get diagnosed with old man disease?
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm just happy I can walk again.
I have an extra leg if you need it.
Yeah, right? Well, I started off the week like I woke up. I went to bed on Thursday night. No, I went to bed on Friday night. No problems at all. Woke up Saturday, couldn't walk. Didn't hit it. Nothing. Just was limping horrifically. Worked. Went through Saturday. Worked Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. My boss's boss saw me Wednesday and was like, "Nope, you're not working. Get a doctor's note." So by the time I got home Wednesday night, I needed crutches and went to the doctor this morning, and he gave me medicine and I can walk now. So if anyone has gout and has successfully navigated life with it, please contact me because I haven't the faintest idea what I can eat anymore. I know I can't drink a lot. And
that's as much as I know. The people I know that have gout, they can't drink.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're
you're
all
not supposed
crotchety
to. You're not supposed to drink. Like I was navigating that pretty good up until that point because like I would drink until my middle finger's knuckle started hurting, and then I would stop for like 2 because that was my trigger. That was when I knew it was coming.
That is the most random thing.
Yeah, it would start hurting in my middle finger knuckle. So it's like, all right, next 2 weeks I can't do anything. Take some medicine. I'll be fine.
So that was your trigger finger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally.
And
Good job. Fits right
and
in.
now with the doctor, I went to the doctor this morning and told her because I'm doing the egg whites for the diet bet. She's like, "Oh yeah, high protein diets can trigger gout." And I'm like, "Okay, wait. So I can't have dark greens. I can't have a lot of protein. No alcohol. Beef can trigger it. Chicken can trigger. What in God's name can I eat without
Just
triggering
donuts.
this crap?"
Krispy
Jelly
Kreme.
beans?
Yeah, like if I eat like crap, I'll trigger it. If I eat really healthy, I'll trigger it. So
Very small rocks.
yeah.
Wood.
And then the podiatrist this morning, he's like, "Oh yeah, it affects your liver too. Think of it like all those ground glass crystals after you get them out of your joint, they're filtered out by your kidneys." So I have some patients who are on dialysis because of gout. I'm like, so I'm sandblasting my insides. Great. So it's been a weird.
Don't eat the sand.
It's been a weird day.
Bad advice, Keith.
Yeah, that's sorry.
Well,
If,
No, that's actually funny. We had to tell that to my daughter. My wife took her to the beach and cleaned her diaper, and she's like, "Yeah, it was sandy."
Yeah.
So there's a new experience for
Kids
you.
are gross.
to be fair, that sand does get everywhere on the beach. Like,
Sand is crunchy and tastes funny.
I
But
mean,
West
Josh,
Virginia.
what have you
I'm
Damn.
officially.
Damn it, we did it
Next
again.
year.
Again.
you
60
guys need to,
episodes.
you need
Every
to stop
time.
having the same brain, is what it comes down to.
We are in Maine. I don't remember the last time we spoke. Oh, we skipped a week last week.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I don't remember.
You're up.
I was in Cape Cod
Hmm.
and had the world's crappiest internet. Like, we had no phone signal and we had no Wi-Fi, so it was just nothing. You had to drive into town, like into town. And what did we do? We went to Boston, and I got to hang out with Matt from Never Not Making. We all met Matt when we were at the Making It 100 event. Keith, you met Matt too, right?
Yep, nice guy.
Yeah, Matt is super cool. Hung out with Matt, went into Cambridge to the Rockler store, and like got a bunch of hardware at the Rockler store. He made these blanks out of a stack of baseball cards, like the micarta, like the stacked up paper with epoxy. He called it a fancier name. I don't know what he called it, but I don't know if he's gonna make a video of it because I think his SD cards were messed up for some reason. But it was awesome in theory and did not work in execution. So we did that. I got a huge chunk of Purple Heart. I don't know if people saw on Instagram a while ago when I was in some other stinking place from like a boat builder. This piece, it was like, it weighed more than my kids. So we took it to his house and we hacked it up with a bandsaw, and I gave him some Purple Heart, so hopefully he can make something cool out of it. And just had just an all around cool day. Now we're in Maine at the Acadia National Park. Just super awesome because there's rocks and cliffs and water and stuff everywhere, and there's no like guardrail, so I just get to jump all over these big rocks and onto many precipices. So I get to take the kids and go jump over rocks and look over ledges and do irresponsible things with my rock climbing kids. So it's really, really fun. It's really nice. I think we're gonna stay here a little bit longer.
It looked beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna leave next week and then maybe go by central New York again on our way to Niagara Falls, which is not in central New York. It's on the other side. Yeah, we're gonna go that way.
Western New York, yeah.
Canada. But yeah, it's been really nice. Sean, what about you?
Well, I survived my second week of work. It's kind of weird teaching freshmen again. They're just barely human beings at this point. But something's happened over the last actually couple of months, but I never mentioned it on the show. Ever since I got my family and I got back from Maker Faire, it's almost like we've been experiencing like different stages of the plague here. We got home and we had an infestation of flies. Got that taken care of. Don't know what caused it. Then we had an invasion of ants. Got that taken care of. Been here almost 9 years, never had ants, but huge amount of ants this summer. And then now we have a mice problem.
Oh,
So in the last 2 weeks, I've killed 7 mice.
Whoa.
nice.
Yep, that's always a fun one.
Yep. And I kind of, disappointed my kids when I started calling him Mickey Mouse, but oh well.
Yeah, never name the pests in your house. I learned that one.
My son laughed. My daughter was kind of like, "That's not funny, Daddy." But oh well. So just recovering from that and enjoying the new toy/tool that I picked up over last weekend that we'll probably talk more about during the geeking out portion of the show.
Stay tuned.
Yes. Have you, Wes?
Let's see. The last couple weeks, I came back from a road trip with my family for the eclipse. We went out to Missouri and met up with Ross Carroll, who is a physicist at Arkansas State University. He's a professor, and he invited us out there, and he had like a little experiment that was NASA funded, among other things. And basically, he launched a weather balloon with lots of other payloads in it, him and some other colleagues. And he's one of like 55 teams that were along the stretch of the shadow path for Totality, and they all launched these balloons that had imaging hardware, and it was capturing the event from like 60 to 80,000 feet up, which is pretty awesome. And whenever you looked at the live stream on NASA, it was actually pinging these weather balloons. They actually had like a broadband satellite link on each one. It's kind of cool. And so geeked out on that a lot. It was pretty awesome. As many of you guys have probably read all the accounts of it and pictures and everything, but it's very, like, my scientific mind understands what's happening, but the primitive brain just like freaks out. You're just like, what is this? It looks super sci-fi and completely bizarre. And it was just,
is it coming back?
Yeah. Like I was imagining, being around before people figured out what was going on, being in one tribe, and you just like, Bob, you will not believe what I just saw, talking to your buddy at the watering hole, and he's like, whatever, dude, you can even be like a mile apart from each other and get completely different experiences from Totality and not. You get a 360 degree sunrise or sunset. You can see planets and stars. Animals start freaking out. It looks completely different than even at 99.99%, which is pretty nuts. But I learned a lot and stopped at Bob Claggett's house on the way back. It was kind of a midway point, so we spent the night there and checked out his new place, which was pretty awesome. And came back, and I'll leave all the other stuff for geeking out as well. But that's my basic 2 weeks.
Did you cry?
I felt it coming on, but then I got distracted by kids.
Are you gonna start a band? Are you gonna start a band and call it Path of Totality?
I should. I should go back to college.
That's an awesome band name.
That is. Yeah, Samantha really liked it. Because like when you're looking at it through the glasses, you see the eclipse occurring, and then there's a moment where you're allowed to take the glasses off if you're in Totality for like 2.5 minutes. And so I'm telling her to take them off, and she's like not believing me. Like, I don't want to take them off. I don't want my eyes to get hurt. And
that was fun.
You're going overtime. That's the alarm.
That's right. I was like, take them off, and she was like, whoa, freaking out. It was pretty awesome. And even Grant can recall what he saw and stuff, so he sort of understood, at least visually, what it looked like and everything. So it was fun. What about you, Keith? What have you been doing this last week or so?
Last week or two, all the interesting stuff I did before that. I visited like Jimmy's and Tony Rillo's, and met a bunch of makers, and then came back here and just went back to work. Doing what I do, which I guess we'll talk about in a bit. But nothing super special. Just dropped another video today, and working on the next one already.
Yeah, man, you've been really, really busy on social media lately.
Yeah, I've been busting my butt trying to be as prolific as possible. So
trying to be a household name.
Oh, trying to be at least one household name. Jeez, it's not easy. So somehow there's some block on me on society. I don't know what it is. It's like I'll put out a ton of videos, and everyone's like, go to this guy's channel. He's got a great channel. Like, everyone should be subscribing to his channel. And I go back and I look at it, and it's like, bloop, 1 subscriber. I'm like, okay. Thanks.
I don't know what it is either, because I've actually tried to help promote also, and not that I could do that much, but it's a little bit baffling that you don't have a bigger following with the things that you do.
I keep looking for the button on YouTube that's like, don't let people follow me. Like, I don't know where it is. It's like a radio button I've got checked somewhere.
You know what I learned is teach high school students and they'll all subscribe.
I'll just start showing my videos in your class, and that works too. Yeah, I'll figure it out eventually, but it's not going to stop me. So,
well, give us a rundown for people who aren't familiar, people that want to go subscribe to a channel. Tell us who you are, a little bit of your background, what it is that you do, what do you specialize in.
Sure.
Who is Keith Decent?
Yeah, geez. All right, so I make things out of reclaimed and salvaged materials. Mostly, that's the big thing that I do, and I make YouTube videos about it, and I make Instagram posts about it, and I'm doing fairly well with my own business. That's what I do for a living. So I have a store here in town in New York, and I sell stuff a little bit online, not very much, and do a lot of commission work for local people who like it a lot because I get like there's a rundown factory at the end of town, and I get some beams from there, and I bring them back, haul them back, make them into a table, and that table goes into a house a few blocks away from that factory, which is now a brewery, which they can drink at and talk about their table that used to be part of that building. So
That's awesome.
Sometimes it sells itself for you, which is nice. It lets me stick to the building. So I've been doing that for a few years. I started out as a graphic designer. Then that mini economy tanked, and everyone stopped paying for graphic design. So I was like, okay, got to find something else to do. Started digging ditches for a living and worked it out from there. And it was a lot of fun. A lot more fun than sitting in front of a computer all day, as weird as that sounds. So, and now I also make comics too, which is a thing I used to do a long time ago when I was younger, in my teens and in my 20s. I used to make comics for my own little website that was it was called halfdecent.com because I was a web designer at the time too. And the joke was that the site was always being revamped. Like every couple of weeks, I had a new design, and it was never finished. I never finished the design before I started the next one. So it was always just half decent. It was always in shambles. And it became kind of a meeting place and a website for the local music scene in Westchester County where I grew up in New York. A lot of my friends were in the bands, and they weren't getting exposure, and I knew about websites. So I was like, hey, let's write some reviews. We'll talk about like music stuff on here. I'll put a little forum on it. And just for my own fun, I was making comics and putting them on there. And this is before analytics were really a thing, before Google was a thing. So you had the counter on the site, but those were unreliable. It was a JavaScript counter, which is like, somebody has a bad day and reloads your thing 20 times, and it's like, okay, oh wow, what a good day. But apparently back then I was getting somewhere between like 1,500 and 3,000 individual hits a day, and didn't realize it. I didn't find out until a couple of years after, like later, and then started getting analytics, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a responsibility. Like people are looking at this, and kind of freaked out and just went to college. I did comics a bit through college, a little bit afterwards, and stopped when I started making stuff for no particular reason. Just kind of ran out of ideas. I wasn't hanging out with the same group of friends anymore, and it was kind of slice of life comics, web comics and stuff. And there were people just doing it so much better. It was like kind of that I've been doing it for a couple of years, and everyone who was new to it was already like jumping off crazy and having millions of people throwing money at them for web comics, which is not true. It just seems like that. Everybody who does web comics is poor. Trust me. Except the oatmeal. He's swimming in giant vats of whatever he swims in. That's expensive.
I think he swims in Teslas.
Probably. Teslas. He swims in giant vats of Teslas.
And exploding kittens.
Exploding kittens. Yeah, card games.
Yeah.
And so I realized with the maker community specifically, there's not much entertainment value to be had outside of the YouTube videos and the podcasts and the blogs. And I guess the Instagram social media posts, but they're all very centric about projects and what you do and who you are as a maker. So I figured, hell, why not just start making comics about being a maker and see where it goes? So that's where I'm at now.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. They've caught on. They're really, I mean, not even for, this community in particular. Like, they're really good. They're really good in general.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's. I was pretty good at it for a while, so it's fun to ease back into it. But you can see I've done 7 so far in this run, and it's I named it Half Decent Comics again. I had a couple of comic series since Half Decent Comics, which was my first one, and I decided just to go back to the original and cut the crap and just reboot it. It's the gritty reboot for my comic series. So, but I'm only 7 in, and you can already see me flailing through trying to get the art right, like through all 7 comics. So, yep. And the last one somehow on Instagram, I don't know what happened. It must have gotten like just shoved in people's faces or something. Or I used the right hashtags. I had 150 followers on the Instagram account, and then I got 1,300 likes on on the last comic, and it doubled my followers. So I was like, okay, I think I'm doing something right. Either I'm doing something right, or an algorithm made a horrible mistake. So yeah, so that's where I am.
So are people in your comics inspired by people in the community? I know the one you did of Bob, like that's
some-
pretty on the nose. But
Yeah, that was the easiest joke I could possibly make about the maker community, was that Bob is like, because he's a figurehead, so it's easy to kind of poke at him a little bit, but in a fun
Mr.
way.
Bob Claggett, yeah.
Mr. Bob Claggett at I Like to Make Stuff. I had so many comments on that comic that just said, no, it's end. I'm like, no, I promise you, it's at.
There's a dumb little thing of whether he's saying at I like to make stuff or and I like to make stuff.
Isn't it
But
funny?
he
though,
set the
that
record straight many times.
Yeah.
People they're flat earthers, I suppose. They just don't want to know the truth.
they're at Earthers.
at bobbers.
But isn't it kind of funny how culturally influenced he is and where we are as a community, that we have our own memes now about ourselves, you know?
Yep.
Like, that's kind of great.
We're very self-referential.
Yeah. And I'm trying to avoid that too much with the comics, but sometimes it's fun to throw people in. I put Mark Spagnuolo and Tony Rouleau and I don't know if you guys know Stephanie Explains It All. She's got a big Instagram following and she has some YouTube videos. She does Raspberry Pi and board work and stuff like that. So I put her in as the geek because I couldn't choose between one of you guys. Don't worry, it'll happen. I warn everyone. People are like, "Oh, when am I going to be in a comic?" I'm like, "Yeah." You were sure about that? I dressed Bob up as a vampire slayer and had him saying, "I like to stake things. I like to stake stuff." So
Bring it.
I thought the last one of the guy who was doing the hand carving, I thought it looked like Phil Pinsky. So I don't know if it was.
A few people think, because it's comics, it's cartooning, so like you dumb it down to the features that kind of explain somebody the easiest, and so sometimes people look like other people, and everyone thought in one of the comics that I was the character that's my avatar that's been that way since I look like that since I was skinny and had blonde hair, and was Tim Sway. Because I was making fun of being an upcyclist, which is, I try to only really poke hard fun at myself in the comics unless somebody's totally game for it, But yeah, and then so people were asking me who the guys were in the new comic. I'm like, no, I just made them up as I was drawing them. There's no, I have like the mixer software in my head that's like hairstyle, face, eyes, nose, and just like pull the big switch and let it roll. It's like a slot machine. So, yeah, that was a fun comic to do. That one I went a little artsy with, and I got a little deep with the joke, but I'm proud of that one.
Good job.
And that's the one that did really well. So
Resonated, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, Sean, you want to play our first guest game?
Sure. I guess we could call it a game, but it's kind of an interesting question to find out even more about everyone. And it is simply, I have never. And so it's something that you've never done, never had an experience doing. They typically, questions like this tend to be something that it's almost unexpected that you have not done this. And then given the pillars of our podcast, we thought it'd be interesting if we focus it more on maybe surrounding it about being a parent, something geek related, and then maybe something regarding making. So let's see. Who volunteer to go first?
The hot potato style, where you
Yeah,
throw
we
it
can
to
do that.
somebody.
Yeah. Do you want to just go? Do you want to go in order for the pillars, or do you want to just make it random?
Make it random. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. It's your game. We're playing along.
Make it random. That way, I think that way we'll have a more consistent responses. Otherwise, we're going to be kind of sitting there trying to think of something.
Like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I could give you guys a couple of minutes to prepare, and I could cut the, whatever dead space out that we have. I've been secretly writing notes for this.
One
Oh,
question.
you're the one that edits this. That's good to know.
Or
Punish
you're
you.
doing
Punish you.
one question, then we all answer that question because that'll give us all each kind of time.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well,
You say
it's only one
question.
question. It's only one question. I have never.
Yeah, you make the statement, so it's we can
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about
Yeah,
we
I
can
guess
talk
it
about
makes
each one afterwards. Whether or
Yeah.
not anybody else has done it. That's probably pretty good.
And have a normal conversation like a normal podcast.
I mean,
Well-
with parenting, that's most of it I've never done yet.
Fair enough. I'm not sure I want to talk about what I've never done with parenting.
In fact, I don't even know if I could come up with anything.
Yeah.
For that.
Oh, you've just done it all, huh?
No, just
I've never-
maybe some things I don't want to admit to that I have done.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I've never packed my entire family into an RV and traveled the country. Drink.
Yeah.
And you get to cut all that out. Sorry, so who's going first?
Let's make it random in terms of how you decide to respond. That way, we give ourselves a little bit more leeway of actually being able to come up with an answer. Because the geek stuff and the making stuff, I think I can come up with quite a few. Parenting, unless somebody
parenting to the end. So if it gets cut off, it gets cut off.
Well, that, or one of you might say something, gives me an idea about something, and I go, oh yeah, that is something I've never done as a parent. So that just gives us the flexibility and freedom, especially in case any of that is too personal, because the parenting stuff, who knows? Depends on what you want to reveal.
Depends on how heavy you want to get.
Yeah. And I could go first to start it off, then if you guys want, just kind of get the ball rolling.
Prime the pump.
I have never made a bandsaw box.
Yeah.
And never plan to.
I got one better than that. You ready for this one? I have never used a bandsaw.
I had not used a bandsaw till I was at Tony Rouleau's house a couple weeks ago.
I've always had jigsaws, and they work. I've used scroll saws, jigsaws, every kind of handsaw. I have a bandsaw that Jimmy actually gave me. He described it as formerly used to cut meat, and I never asked a question about that ever again. And it doesn't have I haven't hooked the motor up, and it's just sitting in a corner of my basement right now. But never used a bandsaw for anything.
It's pretty awesome.
It looks awesome. It seems like a real fun time, but
I was a little apprehensive because it's just one of, like, people think I know what I'm doing. I'm like, it's one of those assumed things. And then when you cut, I'm like, oh, this is really easy. I was like, it just cuts like, this is nice.
And that went through my hand real easy. That was great.
I have a bandsaw. I have no idea how to adjust it.
Just keep turning all the knobs.
Do you think SawStop is developing a bandsaw where it just like removes the blade somehow?
Or just turns the power off?
That too?
I always thought if there should be a SawStop for a bandsaw, what it should do is just like immediately break the blade somehow. Like it comes down, it just breaks it and pulls it away.
Right.
That would be the only way to do it. Have
or just falls apart.
it falls
the whole
over.
machine just like
violently kicks backward.
Yeah.
It just slowly, creakily falls over backwards. Oh, okay, thanks. Now I gotta pick that up with my bloody hand.
I think I'll hand it off to Mark.
Are we sticking with Maker first, or is it just as anything?
We're gonna leave it random for you guys for us to hop around.
Maker, Dad, Geek. I have never watched Blade Runner.
Well, you're off the podcast.
It's just
Link.
Right. It's I have it. It's just one of those movies I've never had a chance to sit down and watch. I'm with you. I've been meaning to, but I want to, but it's one of those things that just hasn't happened yet.
I think the last time I tried it, I was still too young to really know what I was. I was a teenager or something, so I didn't really get it. So I stopped it pretty early.
That's one of those movies that you really have to want to go through, right?
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. At the time, it was probably like great to be bombarded with that, but our attention spans are just crap now, and it's kind of it plods. It definitely plods along. So it's like,
yep.
You gotta want to watch that, and you gotta want to appreciate it while you're watching it too. So it's like, just alone in a dark room with a projector.
I took a college class on that movie and had never seen it. So I thought it was some like really great existential kind of metaphor. And then when I watched it, I'm like, this is hella boring. And Harrison Ford's like super monotone, really dumb like voiceover for most of the movie. I was like, this is like the worst kind of cop out. I was like,
which is why the director's cut exists.
Yeah.
Pretty much because of that monologue, I think. I forget which cut it is, but they cut that out of one of the later cuts, one of the many cuts they do.
Yeah. So if someone's watching Blade Runner, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, everyone's freaking out about the new one. I'm like, I'm not sure you've watched the first one, but okay.
Yeah, really.
All right, Mark, hand it off.
Go to the guest, Keith.
Oh boy. Oh man. Let me get my hand out of my face. I mean, I already did the bandsaw one. That was pretty good. No. I have never used any sort of digital fabrication machine. 3D printer, CNC, anything like that. Laser cutter, nothing. Never used one. I mean, I've handed things to people to put in one time. And that's it. So, and that was a laser cutter, so it almost doesn't count.
That's the one I haven't used. The trifecta.
Yeah.
It's good to get the robots working for you every once in a while, but it's a lot of work.
I really want one. I've got, like I said, I was talking to you guys earlier, I've got a product in mind that I could really use the CNC to replicate as opposed to a coping saw. And it's just, they're a little pricey. So if you all buy one first, then maybe.
Still got to get mine working.
That's the thing. Everyone's got everyone who got the X-Carve, the X-Carve Christmas that happened for 2 years, 2 years straight. I was like, all right, I only had 200 subscribers at that point. I get why I didn't just automatically get one, but I kind of want to just hey guys, remember when you gave everybody one and now no one uses them? But I promise I'll use it. I'll just leave a camera on it all day if you want. I don't care. Just send me an X-Carve.
No, I bought mine. And I had a thing where I was doing a carve a day. I forced myself for at least, I think it ended after about a month, where I carved something every single day just so I could learn how to use it. And I could try to, in my mind, get my money's worth. It was completely useless stuff that no one ever saw. But I tried to carve something every day because I was like, I paid $1,500 for this thing. It's not going to sit idle.
Yeah. Somehow there's a joke in you forcing yourself to hit the button to put something through a CNC every day.
Yeah. Do my bidding.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine just trying to do the vectors on this dinosaur thing that I've got is it's throwing me back into Illustrator in a way I never wanted to use it like millimeters. What is this? I just want to make it like a shape.
Yeah, I got to do the Illustrator crash course because I still haven't I'm used to SolidWorks and I haven't the faintest idea how Illustrator works.
Yeah, I got to find something free because Illustrator is now I have Photoshop. I use Photoshop and it's subscription based now. And if I want to get Illustrator 2, I have to pay $30 more a month to get Illustrator. And it's why is that a thing? Why are we doing this to me right now?
All Adobe software is free.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I get that I pirated your software for 20 years, but come on. Give this one to me. I'm a not so loyal customer for a long time.
Digital karma, huh?
Yeah, I guess so, right?
You can get Inkscape. It's
Inkscape, I've heard a lot of good things about. I just
the weirder younger brother of Illustrator.
I need my Adobe shortcuts. I used GIMP for a little while, and I wanted to throw it out the window because it just didn't do anything I wanted it to do.
Yeah, I didn't like GIMP either.
Yeah, GIMP is like the Photoshop if you like taking 3 steps to do everything in Photoshop extra.
I have never welded, but I'd like to.
Me too. I'm in the same boat.
And it stings a little extra for me because for some part of my adolescence, I grew up in my aunt and uncle's house. And my uncle was actually a legit iron worker and operated cranes and did all that sort of blue-collar stuff. And he would make things at home, welding all the time, and I just never showed any interest in picking that up at the time. The closest I got to welding was grinding his welds smooth with a grinder, which is only so fun for a teenager that doesn't want to do that.
What, making sparks wasn't awesome?
It was fun at first, but man, that was a long telephone pole thing I was making. I don't even remember what it was. It was some sort of metal. It was a light pole that he got repurposed from somewhere, and he hung it up outside, or he erected it outside in the front yard, ran wire, underground to it, and I guess he was fixing it up and stuff, and I had to grind all the old paint off of it for him to refinish it or whatever. But yeah, that was not fun. Josh?
Trying to think of some geek related. There's lots of stuff that I think, I know at least out of the three of us, like there's a lot of movies that I've never seen and that I just don't care to see. Like, I've never seen a Star Trek movie because, like, who needs that in their life? But, like, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and, like, a lot of these, like, staple kind of movies, never seen them.
Hitchhikers was fun.
I've heard such things. Never seen it.
I enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but it was still fun.
Yeah, people expect too much from those movies.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Like similar to the Blade Runner conversation, is that people build up all those things because it's this new geeky thing. It's, the geekier and weirder, more obscure the movie, the better and awesomer it is. And then when you watch it, it's like, this movie kind of sucked. Like, why do people care so much about this?
Sometimes it's just about fun. Like, you don't expect an Oscar-worthy movie from Pacific Rim.
Well, it's also like,
I've never seen Pacific Rim.
You watch Pacific Rim.
Same.
At the very least, watch the honest trailers of Pacific Rim. Because that was hilarious and the most accurate description I could have ever hoped for.
Very good.
But fun movie. Very fun movie.
But, okay, I have a dad thing. I have never been to a school play. Never had a PTA meeting. I wouldn't know how to
Because
act.
you haven't put on a school play yet. Get on that.
Why are you bragging, man?
Don't you have a PTA meeting like every dinner and breakfast?
Actually, I did
lunch?
have a meeting yesterday with his teacher. It was pretty productive.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, don't elaborate.
But no, I've never had to do any of the cheeky school stuff. I've never had to buy school supplies and listen to people whine and complain about buying school supplies. So I've never done any of that.
I'm in the camp that if you're going to take my kid for like 8 hours, like however many hours it is a day, that I will buy as much Play-Doh and pencils as you want. Back the truck up. Here we go. Trapper Keepers for everybody. That's how old I am. Trapper Keepers.
That'd be great.
I remember those. That was the thing, man.
That was,
You always wanted the coolest Trapper Keeper.
Yeah, except the fact that there was no such thing as the coolest Trapper Keeper.
It was a fabled item.
All right, so back to Sean.
I've been having a hard time trying to find something else. I've never finished watching Firefly, since so many geeks hold that in such high esteem. And I own the series. I've only watched like the three or four episodes.
I've only watched the first.
You know why I'm jealous though? You can still watch the rest of the episodes.
It's still new for you.
Look, we're all going to sit here right now while you just go ahead and finish that.
Wait, out of everything else you guys said about movies and being hyped up, and then this one is one that stopped you guys in your tracks.
Because it's worth it.
Have you seen?
Really?
Have you at least seen Out of Gas? The episode.
What's that?
I guess not. Okay. Oh man,
Nope.
It's an episode of.
And
Firefly.
I don't care for Serenity.
You know
so he's
what?
already seen it. You've seen Serenity without seeing Firefly.
Does it matter?
I saw Serenity
Yeah.
first, actually. So I was on
Serenity
Showtime.
was like
Technically
I
so
Never
did
seen either.
I never understood that. Was Serenity a continuation of the show, or
Yes.
was it a cliff notes of the show?
That was a continuation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It picked up right after, almost exactly right after.
Like 6 months, I think.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the name of the ship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the extent of my Firefly knowledge.
I think
I've seen
Serenity should be
one
removed from the chronology.
I think Geeks should be removed from your podcast name, guys. Jeez, you're killing me here.
No,
I would agree.
no, it's because of some.
More like making excuses podcast.
Fair
I just think because some of the events that happened towards the end of the movie
Yes, of course. You could. I think you could. Well, maybe not. Let's not.
Let's not.
Well,
even-
yeah, that's why I don't want to go too far into it.
We've already made fun of Blade Runner. Let's not get you guys any more emails.
Actually, it'd be great if we got emails, even just complaining.
I was thinking that too.
just spoil.
So
it.
in this podcast, we've torn up The Fifth Element.
You
Blade
guys,
Runner.
I should have sent you an email about that. The Fifth Element's my second favorite movie of all time. Oh,
See, that's one of those movies that I love because it's so dumb.
it's the pinnacle of exactly what you're talking about. A movie should be fun as well. It doesn't have to be an Oscar-worthy movie.
Have you seen Shoot 'Em Up?
Yes, that's a crazy fun movie.
Fifth Element is to sci-fi what Shoot 'Em Up is to adventure.
Yes, except that it has some of the best production design I've ever seen in any movie of all time. The sets and the costumes in that movie are just flawless.
I really want to go see Valerian.
They're ridiculous, but they're flawless.
Yeah. I
That's
love
because
those
they
movies that still use the practical effects. Like you can't be just CG. I think to really be successful, you got to use both, and that's what makes a really pretty. Like just the trailer and the commercials for Valerian look amazing, and I'm dying to see that movie because it just looks so crazy.
Yeah, that's when you watch Game of Thrones behind the scenes and you see a green screen that they set up behind a mountain. It's like around a cliff. And you're like, that's like 8 miles of green screen. What are you doing?
You could have used the actual cliff.
Yeah. It's just crazy, though, when they incorporate that stuff.
All right, let's go ahead and pass it back to Mark.
Okay, I did geek. I got to recuse myself from the dad thing because, like I said before, there's 90% of stuff I haven't done as a father yet. So making, Wes, you took my one. I've never welded. I've never made anything artistic yet.
What?
I've never just built something for art
For the sake of it being art.
for the sake of it being art, or to try and just be creative, like I've sat in the digital and done that all day long, but I don't quite think that's the same thing as like some of the stuff Keith does, and like the big huge table Jimmy just put out, which I thought was really cool.
That was incredible. Have you ever embellished something that has I assume you mean you're making things that have just a very utilitarian purpose?
Most of the stuff, like, because since I've been in this house, it all has had a purpose. Either it needed to be a shelf, or I needed to do plumbing or electric, or build a wall, put in a window, rebuild the roof, all that stuff. But I've never like really just sat down and went, what do I think would look cool?
Well, that's not entirely true. You're designing all that stuff in SolidWorks. That's just making it and then 3D printing. So that's more like trying to design a toy. But I mean, like,
that's a foundation. That's a
painting.
foundation of art, though. Yeah, I mean, you've never made a useless thing.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
the
closest thing I have is this. If you can see it.
That's pretty great, man. That's exactly it, though.
But
yeah.
But I want to do something like.
Is the statue of your wife?
No, that's because that's minimal input from me. That's I hold a camera, spin her around, and send it off to the company.
By the way, he was pointing his camera at a giant naked bust of William Shatner.
Yes.
For the people listening at home.
Or Michael Myers, depending on how much detail is in the picture.
Depending on the resolution.
Never seen a bust have so many wieners, though.
Yeah.
Wiener, 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 wiener. Sorry. But I want to do something like that. I want to do something crazy and real and, useless.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I had that same thing where I would only build things that had a purpose or like or was an answer to a problem,
Yeah.
I remember I found this old mirror and I had a whole bunch of like nasty strips of old like kindling, and they all varied in color. And I'm like, I could case this mirror in this swoopy, colorful kind of thing. And I'm like, that'd be kind of neat. I'm like, that doesn't sound like something I would do. And it looked really awesome. And I sold it Like somebody bought it, and I was so like impressed out of all the stuff I had ever sold. Tiff was like, "Yeah, you sold a mirror, like good job." I'm like, "No, I sold the thing that like I thought was artsy, even on my like elementary school artsy level." And it was just really cool to be validated that someone else thought that this thing that I made that I thought just looked pretty.
I mean, that's
Like
it's a great, it's a great feeling. You sold like it's a validation of that creative part of yourself when someone else looks at something that you have made and you're like, no one's ever going to want that. I just needed to do that, and then have it someone else appreciate it so much that they want it and they want it forever. They want to pay you money for it.
Yeah,
you know,
it was really really good. I mean, more so than like I said, the functional things that you may make. Like everybody needs a bed or everybody needs a whatever, but it's a mirror is something that's I would say start there. Start with a mirror, because a mirror already serves its own purpose. Like someone wants to look at themselves, you can't do it now. Do something to it, and now make it add some flair, and put some Mark Flair on it.
Yeah.
and also start using the name Mark Flair from now on. It's perfect.
Mark Flair.
Woo!
Take it from me. A fake last name will get you a shorter distance ahead of where you are, but it'll get you. It'll get you there.
Bedazzle in the back of a jean jacket, you get there a lot quicker.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's now we're talking about creating something nobody wants.
All right, I'm gonna throw to Wes.
I've never owned a PlayStation. I don't know. Sort of. It's the best I got right now.
Not even a PS2.
Nope.
Oh, well, you missed out on a lot of good games, man.
That's the first time I saw a DVD was on a PS2.
That's like the only reason I had friends in college.
Actually, I got a funny story. I didn't know how technology worked back then, and I had a Sega CD. So I kept renting this one role-playing game, and it would freeze at this certain spot. So I would take it back. I was like, hey, this disc is scratched and broken. You have another one. And they gave me another one, and it came back, and I was like, oh, cool. The person who rented this last is at the same spot I was at. Because I had no idea how it worked or how it saved or anything.
Did you rewind your CDs?
Yeah.
I had no idea how they worked back then. But
A lot of people did. The guy at the store is probably like thinking the same thing.
Wes, throw.
I don't want to. Keith.
Okay. I could do a geek one. I'm trying. It's all gonna be video games for me, but I don't know, man.
Approved.
I'm trying to think of a good one, but I've done just about everything there's to do with video games. Jeez.
I hate Zelda.
So I never beat Zelda 2, Adventure of Link. I get all the way to the end a lot, and then I get really bored because you have to make yourself crazy strong to get into the last dungeon, and it's just like I go back to the swamp for like 6 more hours and kill jellies. Like, no, I don't want that.
Never even played Zelda 2.
Well,
It's good.
yeah, that's probably not a bad thing.
I like A Link to the Past best.
Yep.
That's my favorite Zelda.
I only beat the original Zelda like when I was like 17, I think. Like, I mean, and I played it. I'm 34 to give people a timeline for that. It took me that long to figure it out. I think it took the internet to come along and get game FAQs before I could beat Zelda.
That's where I'm at with Link to the Past. My son and I beat it in random stints, and I'm now into the Dark World.
I was never the intuitive gamer. I was never the guy that would try everything and figure things out. I'm always just like, I'll just run headlong at the problem and have as many bombs as possible. Like, that's the way I play.
You the kid that held B while jumping the entire time you play?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I developed, like, I didn't have a turbo controller, but I can hit a button. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
To this day. Like, I can still activate that reflex for Street Fighter in the arcade. You find the toggle of the switch. Oh, Chun-Li. Blanca is more like it.
Different button,
Blanca,
same thing.
Blanca was a cheapo.
This guy's cheating.
Yeah. You ever hit any other buttons? I don't know. You ever lose to any other buttons? I made a lot of friends in the arcade.
All right, I'm trying to think of a culturally one that everybody else probably has done.
Or you're
I've
saying
never
not
eaten.
everybody relates to Lincoln.
Well, no, not saying that you guys haven't, but I have never eaten at Chipotle,
Yeah.
and I don't really want to at this point. Like I feel like it's past.
Yeah, you need Chipotle.
I don't know if it's a good one or not.
I'm in New York. I have access to actual Mexican restaurants. So, and then
I was in the
yet,
South. I didn't.
yet I still go to Taco Bell, but that doesn't count.
That's the guilty pleasure Mexican-ish food.
Yeah, it's not really Mexican food. Chipotle is trying to be, so it's not like Taco Bell's just say, yeah, it's shaped like that. It's shaped like a taco, so you can eat it like a taco.
I guess all Mexican
But
people put tater tots in their burritos.
Tacos like yeah, it's like Taco Bell tacos are tacos just like they're as authentic as like a Choco taco from the ice cream. So wait, I didn't throw it at anybody. You went. Now we get to make Sean. Who's next? Where are we at?
John, did you say we were on time?
I'm wondering about
51
time.
minutes.
Yeah, we should probably start transitioning.
I'm just saying, I'm notorious for people having the longest episode of their podcast ever when I'm on. So it's happened
I
twice.
think
already.
our wives actually hold that record for our podcast right now.
Yes.
No surprise.
Don't cut that part out.
Oh no, they know.
They know.
No, I'm sure. I'm not saying it from them. I'm just saying in general.
So what are you guys geeking out about this week?
Lego's new coffee table. Because that's the only place you can store it.
AKA the new Millennium Falcon UCS.
For a whopping $900.
For 7,000 pieces of plastic.
74 something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All
74.25.
all 8 people that buy that are going to be really happy with it.
They had to design a box that had wheels on it so you could roll it out of the store.
What?
I want to
so-
imagine that it had giant versions of the Lego wheels on it with the big plastic tires.
I think that's a missed opportunity.
yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
they did that. That would have been hilarious. I
I
would
heard
love
they-
that, but in one of the dad groups, I was like, I would love this, but I haven't physically nowhere to put it. And one guy goes, "Here's what I'm doing," and it was a glass encased coffee table, and I was like, "That's brilliant, actually." And I still can't get it because my wife would literally murder me if I spent that much money on Legos.
Yeah, my kids would just starve to death.
I heard they're going to have loan officers in the store to help with financing.
That gave me a really good idea for a build, actually. Imagine building a giant hand truck that the bottom it's just looks like it's made of Legos, like the pipes and then the bottom is a piece with the wheels on it.
Nice.
That'd be the best way to wheel your stuff into a flea market or anywhere, ever. I'm gonna write that one down.
There you go. Put
It's
your
all
dream
yours.
journal.
Yep.
Okay, you can't have anybody else listen to this podcast now. Sorry, guys.
We make all listeners
That's it.
sign a
We'll-
non-disclosure agreement.
We'll bleep that part out. They'll
Yeah,
just think you're cursing a lot.
Bunch of Mario coins just drop.
I'm gonna make
Gotta
a
make you millions though.
One up.
Have you, Wes? What are you geeking out about?
I had a little breakthrough on my CNC adventure. I've been trying to carve a little thing I created in ArtCam as like a little test project of Rocket Raccoon and Groot. And I ran into some issues where it was cutting like a third of the way in, and then it would just drop for no reason and cut at a lower depth from then on. And it ended up being a combination of old firmware on the actual X-Carve. I was running at a lower baud rate than it should have been, which was sort of related to that previous problem. Which basically, from what I understood, is like the data was getting choked out. basically. Yeah, it was moving
too slow.
Yeah, it was losing data because it couldn't send the instructions fast enough, so the machine just got confused. So I fixed that and moved the USB port that I was using to one on my motherboard, so it's better for power. And the issue went away. So, yay!
So, what was your plan for that one? Is to put it into wood or into plastic or what?
No, it was it was just a learning project just to get some time in ArtCam, because it was like a lot of the tutorials have you creating like nature scenes on YouTube. So they're like, oh, here's a nice deer, or here's some other flowery things. I'm like, well, let me make something similar to that, but geek, So
for your styrofoam cabin.
Exactly. So yeah, I cut it in insulation foam just because I ran out of pieces of wood to use. Like I have lots of failed ones, and I ended up using like both sides of just. I'm showing it up to the camera here. Just failed time and time again. So I ran out of scrap to actually use for real. So I might end up doing something with it. I'm not sure. And then I got
chocolate bars.
I've done the chocolate thing already. Can't do that again.
Yeah, but you haven't done it with Rocket and Groot.
Wes, you can win the diet contest right now if you just make Rocket and Groot out of chocolate and send it to everybody.
That's true. That's true. And then I got a new game for my Nintendo Switch, so I've been playing that a little bit. It's the Rabid Mario Kingdom Battle, or whatever. It's like a crossover between Raving Rabbids and Mario, if you're familiar with those series.
There's a franchise I never thought I'd see come back.
Yeah.
The Rabbids.
Yep. It's quite hilarious. It's like a love letter, basically, to the Mario franchise. And they just drop jokes. I never thought I would have seen like toilet humor in Mario in the same game. It's kind of interesting. Like there was a rabbit sitting on a toilet, like it was a sculpture like off in the distance, and you can like look at it and it would give you like little text describing it, and it's a rabbit sitting on a toilet with like a roll of toilet paper beside him, and it says the plaque on this says building a log cabin. I'm not sure what that means. And I was like, yes. That's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's quite fun. It pokes a lot of fun at itself and the Mario franchise. It's pretty entertaining. But
it's a milestone 2017. Mario's first encounter with toilet humor.
Yes.
And he didn't get it.
He's a plumber. You'd think he would know that.
You would think he would, yeah.
He'd be knee deep in it.
He's been out of the plumbing game for a while now, though.
They're gonna revoke his union card.
Hang up the overalls.
What have you been geeking out about, Josh?
I got my 3D printer back.
Oh, yeah?
Yay.
Did. My shop is back now. But I got the version 2 of the Monoprice Select Mini and not the version 1 that I previously had. I had many, many failed prints, and I was getting really irritated. But I looked on some forums and some Facebook groups. I think I fixed the issue. I think it's STL issues. But I've been actually printing
Isn't
stuff.
it always?
I know, man. Damn St. Louis. But I've been printing stuff for my hedgehog. Like, he needed a new house, so I'm printing
And that's
a
not a
new
euphemism
house.
either.
Yeah, I know. He needed a new little food bowl, so I quickly modeled up a new little food bowl because he's getting fat. And we kept filling up his old one, which apparently is like 3 times a hedgehog's worth of food. So, yeah, it's one of those.
Hedgehog is part of the diet bet, too.
I was holding him in my hand when I stood on the scale. Big fat thing just to help me out. That's been really fun. But just before we started recording, I actually went to a virtual reality arcade right up the road in Maine. So I know, Sean, you were talking about the HTC Vibe and going to play the games. I actually played some of those games.
Yep.
Played a thing called, was it Job something?
Job Simulator.
Yes. That game is crazy fun. You're in like this robot world and like you can choose a job. You can be like a mechanic, or I was a chef, and you get a little ticket. It says make this sandwich or make this whatever, and you gotta like open the refrigerator and you get little robot hands, and I like grab something, you could like throw it at people. And it was
in a dystopian future of automation, that's what actual life is going to be like.
Well,
it's like,
I would
hey, want to know what it's like to be a chef? It's like Colonial Williamsburg. Go back and take a ticket and go make a sandwich. Oh, look at that.
Well, I just finished reading Ready Player One like last night, and then I went to this virtual reality arcade today, and I was like, "Do you have the Oasis?" And this dude was like, "What?" I'm like, "You haven't read this book?" I was like, "You own this place and you have not read this book?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "Ugh, you're missing out."
Main
Like, dude, they pay me $8 an hour to hit the button, man. Get out of here. What are you doing?
But like I walked in and they have these little cubicles and like the 3 guys that worked there were all like they all had the headsets on doing stuff, and then the little bell rung when I walked in and one of them like looked up from underneath. He was like, "Oh, hey," and put it down. I was like, "I am in Ready Player One right now." I was like, "This is
It's the
freaking me out."
Matrix.
I know it was.
Did you see what Lucasfilm's putting out? They have a virtual reality headset that will work with all Android and Apple phones, and they have a projector that you put on the floor and a lightsaber. And you
I
get
saw that thing.
You get to fight all the evil Jedi, and then you can do like 2 other games or something like that. But
It's a bad idea.
no,
Create
it's
a
not.
whole-
Sounds like a tech demo.
From them, it's going to be a great idea because they're going to make bank on it.
Oh, for them, it's a great idea. They're going to make money on it. But for
I'm
everybody
not
that
talking
does
about the financial aspect of it.
Well, and that's kind of, they had this thing called the Omni, which I get. Have you guys heard of this thing?
I don't know.
Wait, is that
it's like
the walking thing?
yeah,
Yeah,
It was kinda dumb.
The hamster wheel for people.
yeah. It's you get inside this little, I don't know,
Hexagon.
this it's like a round little thing that you put
Okay,
this like
I know what it is.
band on,
I
and you
know
got
what it
these
is.
stupid shoes. You got to put on these special shoes that like, and you like hunch down in the little harness, and you're like scooting on the floor. It was super dumb. And I was like, this is one of the things that like could be good in theory. I'm like, but in execution, I just feel really, really stupid, and I didn't want to play it anymore.
I feel like for virtual reality, the next thing, once that becomes popular, the first thing they're going to invent or start putting in homes is a little closet that you can move around in freely, because everyone looks like a complete idiot when they're playing virtual reality games, like objectively, because everyone just looks like, and it's
Why is
smashed-
Stevie wondering?
like,
Yeah, I
what are you
smashed
looking at? Yeah,
Piss out of the wall a couple times with those guys' controllers.
I bet they love that.
Yeah, it was funny because it scared me. First time I did it, I went to go reach out, and like I was smacking stuff on the ceiling in this. I don't know what the game you played, Sean. There's like some, I don't know, little wizard's hut or something that I was in, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like, ooh, what's this big hammer thing? And I went to hit it, and when I hit it, I like bang! I smashed the controller up against the wall.
You need to melt wizard.
It's so
That's how you do
realistic.
Force
God.
feedback.
Excellent
tripped me out.
reference.
Because you're walking all around, and I'm like, there's a magic wall that's in front of me. I was like, I forgot I'm in real space too. It was nuts. But yeah, it was really, really fun. Keith, what about you, buddy?
I guess two things. First, I don't know if any of you guys play Overwatch, but I've been playing that game kind of nonstop since this came out, and they just changed my favorite character to make him go from really, really weak and terrible to really, really good and fun to play. So I think I was up until about 3 a.m. playing that last night after I finally had some free time. That's been fun, but more on topic. There's this guy Sean Hogan. He's a musician. He did videos with Evan and Caitlin, if you know them, and he did some music for Jimmy DiResta for one of his vlogs where he takes sounds from the shop and then turns them into music.
Yeah,
That's where I know the
through,
name from. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's incredible. He's done. If you're not subscribed to this guy, then subscribe to him, because not only does he do the cool stuff with all the sounds, like his new video is he used a Walmart receipt to make Guile's theme from Street Fighter 2. And literally just like he like tugs on it to make the bass. He rips it in half to make like I forget the name of the instrument, but he tells you what each instrument is and what he did to it to make it sound like that.
What
He
was
does
his
the
name?
thing where you Sean Hogan, Sean, Sean. You know the right way to spell it, right?
How dare you?
Oh yeah, there it is. Guile's theme. Using
Dude,
the Walmart sheet.
it's so good because you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, and then he busts right into it and it's fantastic. He used a water drop. He does a couple of songs from I don't know the name of the game, but it's very popular.
Hubert.
No, it's like
Is it like Kingdom Heart or something? Or
it's like over something. I forget now. Let me look it up actually,
Overwatch.
because it's not Overwatch. I literally just said that. No, I
Overman.
know that game.
Idiot.
Sean Hogan. Let's click on it and see what he's got.
Echo the Dolphin.
From Undertale.
Undertale.
Yeah, he did. He used a
even
glass
heard
of water
that
and a spoon to make a song from Undertale, and he used a cat to make another song from Undertale. So there you go.
I think I just broke Josh.
Echo the Dolphin? What the hell? That's not as funny as I'm making it in my head.
Oh, here's a Never Have I Ever. Never have I ever played more than 8 minutes of Echo the Dolphin. That game is
that game.
hot garbage.
It's hard as garbage. It's hard.
Dolphin Simulator.
It's a weird game too.
It's so bad.
Save the world. By the way, you can't actually do anything.
Sorry.
So yeah, so that guy I've been watching. I just subscribed to him, and I am either going to try to work with that guy, or I'm going to try to just completely rip him off for a video. So we'll see. I had an idea a while back to do. I wanted to clean my shop and then use all the sounds from cleaning the shop to make it into a song, but I was going to do a cover song. So we'll see. Who knows? So I'm saying that now here before I do it. I'm not ripping him off. I had the idea before I knew who he was.
Sure.
Yeah. Whatever.
Go be character witnesses. You're good.
I already rip off Laura Kampf and Jimmy and everybody else, so who cares?
Yeah, but nobody made a fart noise sign next to a dinosaur.
Oh, that's true. Not yet.
I like that idea of doing like the demotivational happy signs.
Right? That was fun. I think, I got the one that says die, I got the one that says fart noise. I had a couple others in mind. I have them written down in my notes app. But we'll see. It's not much fun making the signs, though, so I don't think I'll be doing it that much. It's
That's what the CNC's for.
Yeah, well.
Strap it down, press go, walk away.
I'll just send them to you guys.
Sean, have you went yet?
Nope.
No, I have not. I'm geeking out about a new tool I was able to get last week. I am now part of, I guess, the CNC family. So I have my first robots. Donald LeBlanc from Fun with Woodworking gave me his old X-Carve since he now has the new one. And you can go check him out for the details about that. But I also did a cameo in the last video he just put out yesterday, where I come in and I take the X-Carve and put it in my car, and it's shot in a little bit of a funny way. So I'll have a link to that in the show notes. So I did my first carve, or at least started my first carve last week or earlier this week, and then.
If you're doing with easel, it probably will be.
Well, I'm doing with easel, and I was doing it was supposed to be a quick carve of my son's name, but I was using a more complicated font than I probably should have started with. I don't know if it was cutting to the right depth. I don't have any clamps for it, and the double-sided tape was sliding as it was cutting. So I cut 3 letters of his name, and I hit stop. And so I'm going to make some clamps and then go back and try to finish it.
Using Zapfino to carve.
They have the STLs for the clamps on their website.
Yeah,
you need clamps to carve them, don't you? So then you're like a chicken and egg problem.
No, I'm just gonna. I already know the shape of the clamps and how they work. I have a couple of the extra screws that go into the threaded inserts. So I'm just gonna cut a couple on the bandsaw, and just so you have something to use in the meantime. And then I need to order some new bits. I forgot to take the rest of the starter bits he was giving me, so I only have like 1/8 inch upcut bit or something. So
just stick your finger in there and hold it down while it's going. It's fine.
I'm not going to say if I was or was not doing that already.
That's what I use my Jimmy Dresta ice pick for, boys and girls.
I've also heard people do like blue painter's tape and super glue.
Just I screw it, man.
That's what
I was gonna say.
Just a big, fat-headed screw. Mm-hmm. Push it right up against the edge of that board, so that just the lip of that screw holds it down. You do them on all 4 corners, the thing won't move.
Or screw with a washer and it worked too, pretty well.
Yeah, that too.
I haven't put that much time into trying to solve that one actual problem yet. I haven't had time after last Sunday anyway, so. But I'll try some of those things.
I think you're overestimating the amount of time it takes to come up with screw with a washer on it.
No, but even the time to actually go and do it and then carve the rest anyway is just, it's been a busy week. But I have a long weekend, so hopefully I'll be getting back to that.
Sweet.
Yep. Was that the dime mark?
Yeah. Sorry, Josh. It hated your model. It printed Wes just fine.
I missed it. Cool.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna print I don't know. I'm going to do a couple more prints because I have that combined too. So I'm going to do another one with both sides combined with that size, and then I'll do them bigger so you can pick and choose.
Sweet.
I know what that is. I was raised on Earth.
Speaking of which, that's the other thing I'm geeking out about. I love the new DuckTales cartoon.
It's fantastic.
I was gonna say the same thing. People were like ragging on it, and I'm like, this is amazing.
No.
It's so good.
The only thing I'm ragging on is the theme song doesn't have horns, but somebody fixed that on YouTube and it sounded good. But either way, I don't care. I love
the theme song. It's still really good.
Yeah. The
So far, I've only seen the
found-
first episode, but I quite like
No,
it.
I found like the first 2.5 minutes of the next episode.
How many are they in now?
None. They haven't even. It's not airing until September 24th or something.
I think they just did like
No.
a pre-release, didn't they?
Yeah, they just did the first 2 episodes, which was
Okay.
the main movie episode, and then it's going on regularly sometime in December. I want to say the 24th, but it could be
Okay.
the 10th. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I love all the voices. The only voice that I'm not in love with is Launchpad's, but that's because the voice
He's
of the
a-
original cartoon was so perfect.
It's close.
He's a little more surfer dude
He's
in
a
this
little
one.
he's a little more human, like a little too real. I think, you know.
I'm a pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, pilot. Yeah.
Love it.
But the voice actor looks almost exactly like Launchpad McQuack, which is hilarious. So he's got that going for him.
I think after seeing the what I found today, I think Webby is going to be one of my favorite characters because she's a little crazy and it's awesome.
Yeah. That actress is funny too.
Kate Makuchi,
I believe
The
it's
Gooch.
No, this is a
Yeah,
family show,
Gooch.
sir.
the Gooch.
She's been on like so many shows.
Scrubs. Awesome.
Scrubs.
Plus, she has the
Raising Hope.
they have that YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her and the other one that do
Yeah.
the funny stuff. I know about things.
Dude,
people?
yeah, and it's songs that we can't even say the titles
Yeah, no.
of on this
Nope.
podcast.
I think you're gonna get shut down just for me thinking about it.
Funny stuff though. Don't watch it in front of your kids.
Well, we would love to hear from all of you. Please visit makinggeeks.com, check out the contact page, drop us a line, ask us a question, or suggest something for the show. We would love to hear from all of you. And right there on the homepage at makinggeeks.com, you can go ahead and take a look and listen to all of our past episodes and all of our other guests that we had on the show, just like our amazing guest that we had today. So please check that out on makinggeeks.com.
And you can find the rest of our social media on Instagram at Making Geeks Podcast, on Twitter at Making Geeks, on Facebook at Making Geeks.
And we'd like to thank our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks, including is this our first patron actually on the show? Keith?
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what
it's sort of
level
like
you
a-
are.
Let's
Wormhole
not celebrate till the
kind of-
payment goes through.
That's true. It does say 0. No pressure. But I'd like to thank all our patrons, and a shout out to Mr. Seth Williams for being the top patron.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you guys for your support. We do appreciate it.
Should I
And-
plug my or we
You
do
will
that?
wait your turn, sir.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I surrender.
Latch.
I wasn't sure about what where.
So, Keith, why don't you tell everybody where we can find your stuff?
Sure. The main hub for everything now is I recently redid my website, keithdecent.com. So there you can get links to all my stuff, but I'm big on Instagram and I'm really pushing the YouTube channel these days. Anywhere you look for me, it's Keith Decent, all one word. It's really hard to mess up.
Sweet.
Oh, and Half Decent Comics is the other Instagram, all one word.
Those are really good.
Thank you.
When you're done perusing all of Keith's work, you can find all of our mediocre body of work compared to his huge portfolio at geekbuilders.net, geeksmithing.com, Asylum Designs on Instagram, Twitter, and Thingiverse, and thepiworkshop.com. And Keith, man, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This
Thanks,
was a
buddy.
super fun
It was a
episode.
good time, man.
Thanks so much for
Yeah.
having me. I love you guys' podcast, and it's great to finally be on.
Aw,
After
Yay.
hounding you guys for years. No, not years. It's been a year. Weeks,
You've
months?
been on the list for a while now.
Every hour.
Yes. I blocked your call. Stop
Yeah.
texting me.
he was in my house, guys. I had to. It was kind of
Yeah. I forced my way into Josh's house.
sat on my couch and wouldn't leave.
because the door is made of thin aluminum.
Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did, and tune in every Saturday for a new one. Sorry we weren't here last week. I apologize. Go tell the methadone clinic you don't need anything anymore. We're back. So, next Saturday, new exciting episode, and we hope you have a fantastic week.
See you guys.
Take care, folks.
Bye.
All right.